Hey everybody, it's Jesse, and coming to you a little bit later than normal today. So I had a meeting scheduled for 2 p.m., which is my normal time, and then that meeting ended up getting canceled right before. So ended up not really needing to postpone it, but at that point I had already had it on Twitter for hours and on YouTube that I was going to do this at 3 p.m. Eastern instead. So I decided to just stay with that. So I'm going to catch you up from what we did yesterday, and then we'll decide what to do today. I'm going to leave it up to you all what we work on, because there's a few different. There's probably at least 3 different paths that I'm thinking we could go down today, and actually, let me know if the stream is alright. I'm getting a message that the stream was not so good in terms of quality. So it did say it's good now. Oh no, now it's not so good. So just let me know. It looks like I'm uploading at, I'm like over 5,000 kilobits per second right now, which should be fine. But let me know. Not sure if there's much I could do to fix it since we already started. Okay, now it's getting a little faster. It should be good. Alright, awesome. It looks like in the live chat, alright, we have 1080p. Okay. So basically, since yesterday, we had some pull requests. So I had some pull requests from Kevin and from Gavin. So there's now a GitHub pages page for this. So I'm not 100% sure about this, but I'm pretty sure that the form will not work on GitHub pages, but the rest of the site should work. So it'll be a good way to check things out even when I don't have ngrok running. So if you go to, I'll need to put a link to it now in the README file. I think that would probably be the best way to go. But I think it's like, it's normally, what is it, GitHub, and I can't even remember how the URLs are formatted. I haven't had anything on GitHub pages for a couple of months, so I'll have to find it. Let me go into settings and show you. Okay, here we go. Alright, so here's what it looks like when you first go there. So it's fus-marcom.github.io. Okay, that's what I thought. And then /resource center, so resource-center. When you go there, it says page not found, obviously, because we haven't set that up in React Router as a route. So if you just click on the side nav there, you can go to the different pages. So they work. Like I said, I'm pretty sure the form won't work. But that's not really a big deal. You'll be able to see the rest of the site. And let's see, I'm gonna paste that in the live chat, and I guess I'll probably end up putting a link, if there's not already a link to it, because potentially I'm gonna have to check. Usually repos will have it like right up at the top. They can get a link to it, so I'll try to do that. You know what I'm talking about, like right up here. Try to get a link to it right up here, so it's really obvious. So I'll do that later on. That's not really important for right now. Let's see. Okay, so basically, so that was thanks to Gavin's pull request. So thank you, Gavin. That was all him in terms of getting that working for GitHub pages, which was for this project a little bit more involved than you would normally do to get your project on. So check out that pull request if you want to see the details. He included some links to some more in-depth instructions for doing GitHub Pages page with Create React App. Also had a pull request. I think we had two from Kevin. One was refactoring. So the major one was refactoring what we did yesterday. So if you take a look at this, I mean, it's going to be hard to see it as I'm scrolling around, but if you check out the repo, everything should be up to date on the master branch now. So that's, if you want to check that out, that would be the best to look at. But if you check out the server.js, things are looking a little bit better, more organized. And Sebastian also explained his reasoning for refactoring in the way that he did on that pull request. So that's like maybe pull request 34, something like that, 35, somewhere around there. Also, we had an update to our example file for the environment variables to take into account the new variables that we were using. Alright, so now you're all caught up. Actually, no, there's still one more thing. So I now have the actual content of the form going in the emails and going to the Wrike projects. So before we just had in the emails just some string, some demo string that came with the example from the SendGrid API for Node. So we got rid of that, so we're actually sending basically just, I'll show you how I did it because it's right here on the screen. So all I did was here where we're already making an object with all the fields. So key value pairs with the field names and then the value that we put in. So I decided, since we're already looping over all that here, why not make a string that basically has the same thing. So I'm just grabbing the name of that input and then whatever the value is, and then for now I've just included a break, and I needed to change the type. Let me find out where this is. At some point there was a type that I needed to send in with the through the SendGrid API, and now I can't find where it is. It should have been below. At least I thought it was. Oh, okay. So text/HTML is the type. So before we had text/plain. Alright, so since we're including HTML now, we had to change it to be HTML. Alright, otherwise it'll actually show the BR tags. So that's all we had to do to get it working for the email, and then we just take that same fields string and we pass it here as well when we make the folder. So now this is an additional, so we weren't passing this before, and we also, now we're actually passing the email address that gets entered into the form, and that's going to be the title. Instead, before we just had test that we were passing in. So now if we go up to our Wrike make folder function, so you can see we have the name and then the content. So for our title we have name, and now for a description we have content. Okay, so that's all the farther I've gotten right now. Probably want to clean it up a little bit. So I want to send 2 emails. Right now I'm only sending 1 email. So I'll have to see what the best way to send those emails are. I don't know if there's some built-in way. I'll have to read through the documentation to see, like, is there some built-in way that I can just pass in something else to say, like, all right, we want to send the same email, but I'm not sure. We might do like an entire entirely new email, new template, send a different one. I may want the user to see something different than the project manager sees. Not sure. I mean, probably could just simplify it and make the email for the user. It's enough that the project manager will just see that something came in, and then that way they'll get an extra notification so that things don't slip through. And yeah, and that's so basically for the server part of this, we're nearly finished. It's just a little bit of kind of cleaning up the way the email looks. Okay, which is not really. It's a bit tedious because you have to change things and then send an email and then check to see how it looks. Probably not a bad idea to check it in different email clients, but it's going to be a really basic email. This is it doesn't need to. It's an internal email and just kind of a courtesy thing to say, hey, we got your data. We got your submission. And it also gives the user a chance to review what we got, because they may have accidentally typed something in wrong or forgot to put something in, and they get one last chance to review even after they've submitted and correct anything. So we could do that. We could work on this. We could even try to look up some security things to do for our uploads, or we could move on and start working on some of like the UI things, like just some CSS with the layout, which we have Sass set up now thanks to Patrick. We haven't really done anything with Sass yet, so maybe we could work on that. The other thing that we could work on that would be a little bit more involved and we haven't done yet is doing the resource section for logos. So I'm going to show it to you also. I know I've showed this before, but most likely have some people watching that did not see it previously. So I'm going to pull this onto the screen. Logos. Okay, so here's how the logos look now. So you can see it's, they just automatically rearrange themselves, and then we also have, some filtering going on. So this is actually it's not going to be too difficult, because if you remember from our last project, do you all remember Fabian from Paris, who did a bunch of pull requests for the last project? I haven't seen him for a while in the live chat, so maybe he's busy with work or something. But he had some pull requests for our resource section, the original version of it before we had to change it. And we had a Masonry layout similar to what we had for the logos, but it worked with React. Okay, so this is all jQuery. It's using Isotope, so we can't just copy this over and have it work. So we could probably look back at that pull request of Fabian's, see what he did, and then apply it here. So we won't have to start from scratch, but I think that'll probably be the best way to do things. And instead of the Isotope filtering, we probably could just do our own filtering with .filter, and that should work. That should work well. It should accomplish the same thing. The only thing that'll be different is there's, you see there's like a slight animation. We won't have that animation. I'm sure it's possible with React, but I've not really worked with animations in React, like on a state change. So we'll see if when we get there. So anyway, those are the three options. I'm going to repeat them really quick because there was a lot of explanation between them. So the first option is try to really polish that server.js file with possibly some security and proper email templates. Second option is do some UI work using some Sass, and just clean things up a bit, make it look nice. Third option is try to do a Masonry layout in React for all these images, for all these logos. I'm going to give everybody just a minute, I guess, to vote in the live chat. And while that's going on, I'm actually going to check out the live chat here because I haven't checked it at all yet. And I'll say hi to everyone. Also, I have had a few people join in on Instagram already, but if you're not aware, if you'd like to see what my office looks like and what I look like while I'm coding, you can check me out on Instagram. The link's in the description. If you're joining on Instagram and you don't know what's going on, I am coding. And if you want to see the code, check out freeCodeCamp's YouTube channel for a live stream of my screens. Alright, cool. So Victor says, hi, great to be part of this project. I'm beginning to like coding more with each step. Thanks, freeCodeCamp. Awesome. You're welcome. Thanks for watching. Hey, everybody. I see a lot of people were saying hello. I'm not going to go through one by one. I'm just going to say hi. Google user RVA asks, is this just Java? It's JavaScript. So a little bit different programming language than Java, but yeah, it's basically I don't want to say it like this because there was this huge thing on Twitter a couple weeks ago about this, but it's just JavaScript in regard to React. I don't know if any of you saw that, but there were like some people were freaking out about how everyone always says React is just JavaScript, and they were saying like everything's just JavaScript. Like, what do you? I don't know what the big deal is. I mean, I think it's, at least I've always understood that it's more nuanced than, like, obviously it's not exactly JavaScript, right? But anyway, don't want to go off on that tangent. Let's see. Ishtmeet says, can someone tell me what this project is all about? I'm not sure if someone answered. Doesn't look like it. So, brief description. We're using React. Specifically, we bootstrap the project with Create React App, which is just a way to get started building React really quickly without having to worry about configuring Webpack or anything like that. So we built it with that. We're using Material Design for our UI. So specifically, we're using a framework called MaterialUI, and we're blending that with another material design framework called Materialize. But the project itself, the whole purpose of it is just to provide some resources, like logos, to people where I work at the university that I work at, and then also allow them to request services from my department. I work in marketing, through an online form. And so that online form sends emails after you submit it, and it also sends data into a project management system through the API. It's Wrike is the project management system. So that's basically what it does. And so we're just working our way through that project. Limple says, hey, it's a shame I started watching these streams only now. Now I'm watching only day 2 and trying to catch up with these. Well, yeah, it's good that you're watching now at least. Sorry you didn't get in sooner, but some people have said that they're able to watch the streams on 4 times speed and it still makes sense. So maybe you can try that. I haven't tried it yet myself, but who is? I think Bill watches it. Yeah, Bill's in here. Hey, Bill. I think Bill has said he's been able to watch it at 4 times speed, so it might help you to catch up a little bit more quickly. Okay, Gavin, good. I'm glad you sent a message about this. So right before I started the stream, like literally 2 minutes until I was going to start the stream, I noticed that Gavin had sent me a message on Instagram. I read it quickly and then realized I don't even have time to respond to this right now. So anyway, the messages that he sent was about starting a Slack channel so that we can keep the discussion going even outside of the live stream. So that's a good idea. There have actually been some attempts to do this before. So we hadn't, and I think we still have an IRC channel, which I haven't checked into in a while. And I'm sorry about that if you've been in the IRC channel, but I just completely forgot about it. So we have the IRC channel, although admittedly IRC is a little bit harder to figure out if you haven't used it before than something like Slack. Somebody did try to make a Slack channel, but then we couldn't get in. We needed like usernames and passwords for it, and so that didn't work out. So I'm definitely open to a Slack channel. I think that would be nice. If anyone would like to set that up, I'm cool with that, and just let us know how we can join. I think that would be cool. If we do a Slack channel, though, I mean, let's try to keep it the same as it is in here. Definitely very friendly for new people. Any questions are welcome about code. Try to get along and not get angry and argue with each other. So just basically, I like to have a really kind of nice, laid-back environment where anybody can feel free to ask questions without getting ridiculed for being a noob or anything like that. If you want to have battles about which editor is the best, I'm fine with that. But no battles about like really, really serious things, because I don't want people to get... There are other places where that kind of discussion is appropriate, but not on the freeCodeCamp YouTube channel or Slack's channel. Okay, cool. So anyway, Gavin, thank you for that. That's a really good thought. So definitely think that would be cool if someone could get it going. All right, so Krish says, LOL, what's going on? Who's this? Learn Git first, yo. Yeah, I agree. Git's awesome. So this is Jesse, and I'm building a React app live on YouTube. And yeah, so I'm not going to teach Git, but we will learn some Git along the way, because I'll explain what I'm doing with it. Okay, so I assume everyone's had a chance to let me know what you'd like to see. Alright, so I see we have a vote for doing things with Sass, logos, animations. Gavin reminded me about the Pomodoro clock. I just always forget. Thanks. Alright, I'm starting the Pomodoro clock now, which means I'm about to start coding. Right, Masonry component. How do I see the Insta stream? Dylan asked how to see the Insta stream. My Instagram name is in the description for this video, so check. You can get the name there, and then go into Instagram, and I guess you can search. Actually, I've never really tried to see my own stream. So I guess you'll be able to search for me. Do like a people search, and then it'll show that I'm streaming live. Okay, it looks like I had a few people that are talking about the Masonry layout, and maybe one vote for doing things with Sass. So I think we're going to do the Masonry layout today, and we may end up actually doing some things with Sass to make that layout look nice, so we'll probably get a little bit of both. So if you voted for Sass, you're not going to be disappointed completely. So that's good. I figured you may have been getting tired of working in server.js anyway, because we've been doing that for at least like 3 days, maybe 4 days. Okay, one more. Alright, one more comment and then we'll start. Damien says, I'm heading back to day 9. May I make a suggestion? When a new module is used, can you show how it's done? On day 4, I was struggling and was able to add Babel to dev dependencies. Then Googling worked. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to do a better job of updating on that. So I'll try to remember to let you all know when things are added into package.json. Just to make sure that when that happens, you got to run npm or yarn and install the packages. Otherwise, stuff probably won't work right. Okay, cool. Gavin has created a channel, so Gavin, if you replace the periods in the link with an asterisk, then you should be able to paste it in there. And then if anybody copies it, they can just replace the asterisk with periods. So some people have been able to get links in there like that. All right, so let's go. First things first, let's look up the code that we're going to use. So it should be in this repo. Let's see if we may have a branch for it. Alright, so don't have a branch. I was hoping there'd be a branch and it'd be easy. I'll have to look back through. Let's go to that page. If you're not familiar with Git, this is one of the great things about Git and version control in general. So the final version of this project, which is now finished and launched, does not have the code that I want to use. But a previous version of it that we moved on from does have that code. So if I hadn't been using Git or some type of version control, that code would be lost to me, unless maybe like I manually copied the file and saved it somewhere. But now I can go back, so I can go to the file, which should be resources, and I can look at all the previous versions of that file. So I can go down here and I can see everything that's changed and even who changed it. So let's scroll. Okay, so that's where I did the new UI. So anything before that should be what we want. So I can go in here and I can see exactly what changed on that particular commit, on that version of the code, or I can just view the whole file, and that's what I want to do. So it looks like we are using React Masonry component, which I think Gavin had put in the live chat. So that's what we will be using. Let's see if we had anything else. Yeah, this is really all we need to import. So we will be pulling in that package. Okay, we're going to be using some of this. So in state, we'll have basically an active tab, right? So it's not really going to look like a tab layout. So if you see like what we have here, I wouldn't necessarily call this tabs. It doesn't. At least it just doesn't feel like a normal tab layout in terms of like the way it animates and everything. But that's essentially what it's going to be. So we're going to keep. Let me make this a bit bigger. So we're going to keep this. I haven't decided yet exactly how I'm going to pull in all these images and what I'm going to use to manage those images. So not sure if we're going to have to make any calls to get that. Now this code is going to have some extra things that we definitely won't need. We're not going to do this init tab stuff. So this was to make some things work that we're using jQuery, and we're definitely not going to use that. The actual, let's go to the actual markup. Alright, so we have this Masonry component, right? So we're wrapping everything in the Masonry component, and then each one of the images will basically be here, where we have our div that's a column, and then a card inside of that. We'll have the same thing. So we'll have our div that's a column, and then inside of that, we're not going to have a card, we're going to have an image. And then that, in this case, that connects in down here. And we actually are putting in, we won't need to do so much of like the categories and things in our drop down. We're not going to do that. We're just going to have essentially tab. I was thinking for a second I would show you how this looks if you don't remember this project, but we can't because we changed it. So I can't really show you how it worked out. But anyway, it might be a little bit hard just to see with the code. I mean, if you had seen some of the shows when we did this, maybe it's a little easier. So let's just get to it and put something on the screen just to start to see what this is actually going to look like. So the first thing we're going to do is get this package. So if you're not familiar with how NPM works, then this will be a nice introduction. So in our package JSON file, you'll see we have this section for dependencies. Okay, now this file has gotten somewhat large, so don't worry if this looks like a lot of stuff. If you're just starting out on your project, it'll be a lot smaller, more simple, and that's as it should be for a project starting out. So this project, we've been working on this for this is day 15, and there's at least a dozen people working on it right now, between me and all of you that have submitted pull requests. So it's starting to get a bit complicated. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to pull in that package, React Masonry component. Alright, and that's going to help us get our Masonry layout and basically do a lot of things that we don't really need to do by hand from scratch, right? Because that would be kind of tedious. We may as well use that package. When we do load that package, it's going to show up here in our package JSON under our dependencies. This is going to get synced up to GitHub so that anybody who wants to copy that, they're going to clone that repository, they can then run npm and it'll check this and it'll load all these things that you'll need for the project to run. So I know a lot of you probably know that, but for people who are just beginners starting out, that's kind of how it works. At least for people that are using like npm based things. I know other programming languages have similar things. I can't remember what they're called in other languages right now, but so if you're familiar with like package managers in other languages, then similar thing that's going on here. But it is nice that we can all have the same things and the same versions of these packages all running. So we should, in most cases, all be able to run it, and it should work. Alright, so let me pull over my command line. It's on my other screen right now. I will make this bigger. I know it's really small right now. So this is my terminal or command line. To tell you the truth, I don't really know if there's a difference between saying command line or terminal. If they're interchangeable, maybe there's a difference. I don't really know. If one of you knows, let me know. So it's possible that I don't sound very smart because maybe I'm using them wrong. But if you're not familiar with it, I mean, this is where we can type in commands. Mine looks a little different than the default because I'm using something called iTerm2. This is for a Mac. If you're on Windows, there are different things that you can use as well. I can't remember for sure. Commander or something. I can't remember what I have on my PC. But you'll probably want to download something other than your basic terminal, just to add some extra features that'll help speed up your development. So in this, let's see. Looks like my commit didn't work. I didn't even realize it. Wow, okay. Create files. Let's check this out for a second. So we have, wow, how did I fail this many tests? Alright, so let's check this out. This will be a great learning opportunity. What to do when things go wrong. So right now we're set up to run some tests every time we commit code. So we're actually doing several different things. So it's checking all the code for errors. It's formatting all the code in a standard format. And then it's running some tests to make sure everything's working. So we failed some of these tests. And it looks like we're failing for navigation error. I'm gonna try it again just to see what happens. I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll just try to do the exact same thing again, and occasionally I'll get a different result. All right, so we are getting the same result. Not exactly sure what's happening. For the sake of just kind of moving on, let's skip the test. I really hate to do this because I think it would be good in case you are having these problems, but this is kind of like a big detour from what we were trying to do. So for now at least, I'm gonna add no verify. Actually, that's for Husky. I don't think this is gonna work. I'll try it anyway. Oh yeah, it did work. Awesome. Okay. Alright, so I had thought that I had pushed this up to master, and I told you all that at the beginning of the stream. So obviously that hadn't happened. I just didn't look back at my my terminal. So now we're going to pull down the correct package. So I happen to be using yarn, which instead of normal npm, which you can use that. I'm using yarn. We can do yarn add, and then React Masonry component, and I'm going to double check. Let's see. Okay, I'll double check the spelling. So I don't know if you all heard, but there were some people were taking like common packages and then publishing their own packages that had the same name but just misspelled slightly, and then those packages were stealing environment variables that's just supposed to be private. So, which is actually crazy because I don't know if anybody was watching the stream. So one of the early streams, I started to type a package name, and it occurred to me that someone could do a lot of damage if they misspelled it. And I don't know if anybody remembers that, but there's video evidence of this, and which may not be good for me because someone might say it was my fault. But I doubt that anybody watched my stream and got the idea for that, but it actually did happen. So at the time when I said it, it was just hypothetical, like that would be bad if somebody did that. But people were actually doing that, evidently. And so basically just double check when you put this in that you're actually spelling everything correctly. Otherwise, I don't think it was really widespread. There didn't seem to be that many people affected. And I think NPM they're taking steps to prevent that from happening. But just in case, you may want to double check that. Okay, so we have React Masonry component, and you can see now it shows up here, right? So it says here's the name of the package, and then here is the version. So by default, if you don't specify a version, it should give you the latest stable release. But you could certainly specify any version number that you wanted that's available on NPM. Let's see. Okay, at this point we can go into our component for the logo view, so logos.js. So you see we already have some things in here, and I'm actually using this. I was using this to test out the generic card that Rohit had made and committed, which is going to be really useful as we start to build out some of the other pages. But for now, I'm going to remove this because we're actually going to put the logos in here now. So we don't want this in here right now. And we want a row. Yeah, we'll probably want to leave the row. And yeah, let's pull in we'll pull in Masonry. So we're going to import Masonry from React Masonry component, and then that'll allow us to use Masonry in our component. And then I'm just going to bring in, right now I'm going to be copying a lot of things over from that file that I showed you from our previous project. So we're not going to need all of this. We don't need price. We need data. We may end up using data later on, but we're not right now. Categories. Type. Actually, so in comparing the two projects, I think type will be the equivalent to our categories that ran along the top. So we're going to keep that. We don't need these categories. So once we get going, we may decide we can change this up, but I think this should be all right, at least to start with. And Okay, so I don't think we need to do anything like with lifecycle methods right now. So I am going to copy over that Masonry constant that we had. So we are going to keep filter. Alright, we can get rid of this filter because we don't have price. We can get rid of the category filter. We're going to get rid of the card, the resource card. Yeah, we get rid of the card. And instead we're going to end up having an image. I'm trying to think if there's a wrapper. So for now I'm just going to put in an image. We're going to use a placeholder image. I'll have to check in MaterialUI to see if there's some component like wrapper for responsive images or something like that. We'll see how it looks. For right now, I think it'll be alright just to use the image element. And let's see, what have we been using for images that was for stock images? Actually, I could use a real image, I think. We have, where did I have? Oh, I must have moved to my other screen. We could maybe use a real logo. And we'll probably need to add some extra logos as well. We've gotten some new logos since I first made this. So let's see what there we go. Yeah, that should be. I was just double checking to see where that was at in the folder structure. I think that should be publicly accessible. I would normally obviously just do get the image URL, but since it's wrapped in all these divs, I can't actually get to the real image itself. So that's why I'm getting the URL like this. So let me put this in, and I'll need to do I need to put the beginning of that in. Whoa. Okay. My Pomodoro timer is up, so I'm going to do a 5-minute break from coding to check out the live chat. And then we'll go back and do another Pomodoro session. So I'm going to scroll up a bit and see what I've missed. Okay, I see. Kevin said maybe it's time to split the server into various files. I agree. I figured we'd have to at some point because I knew it was going to start to get big with all and we're still not even doing everything that we need to do. So it's going to get even bigger. So we probably should split it up. Jonas asks, can you show me a lesson, use a CSS class to style an element, please? We'll probably end up using classes to style an element, possibly in this stream. So if you can, stick around and watch. We'll get to that. Once we start getting some things on the screen, I'm sure we'll have to adjust. Probably, I'm thinking at the very least, that top row of categories that we're going to put on there will definitely need some adjustment. Unless I could find a MaterialUI component that does exactly what I want, we'll probably need to adjust it, and we will most likely have a class that we'll use. Let's see. Jongwoo says, hello everyone, what's your go-to editor and terminal? Well, I think I've already said my terminal I use is iTerm2 on Mac. On Windows, I think it's Commander, but it's spelled like CMDR or something like that. And I guess that's how you pronounce it. I've always just assumed that's how you pronounce it, but now that I think about it, I'm not even sure. And then my editor is Atom, but I like Visual Studio Code as well. Eunice asked, when did you start coding? Like, if the very first time I ever started coding was when I was in high school, so probably I was 16 or 17 years old. And that's if you really want to consider like HTML and CSS coding, which I'm not going to get into that. Some people do or don't think it's coding. So after that, though, like really like starting to code and get paid for coding, it's only been, I don't know, like 4 years ago. Yeah, it's 3 or 4 years. Let's see. So I've been a full-time front-end developer for almost 2 years now. At this university. Before that, I was freelance for about 3 years, and for most of that time, I was doing coding work. When I first started out, it was not so much coding, just maybe like some CSS stuff here and there. Okaba says, please, is the entire project going to be made available for download after it's been completed? Yeah, the project is it's already available on GitHub, so you can certainly clone it, download it whenever you want, and it'll be left up there whenever it's completed too. And then of course the videos will all still be available for as long as freeCodeCamp wants to keep them up, which I assume they'll want to keep them up, unless, I don't know, maybe if I really mess up, they'll take them down. But I think they're happy with what I've been doing so far. It looks like, so Gavin has made a Slack channel, and he shared the link, but let's see, I'm going to clean up the link and paste it in since no one else but me is allowed to put actual links in. So my timer has run out. I'm going to get back to coding in a second, but I do want to join the Slack team for freeCodeCamp Live. Awesome. So this link, I just tried the link. It should work. And I've put that in the live chat. I'll probably end up putting this link in the video description as well, so that everybody can see it and we won't have to keep putting it into the live chat. Alright, so 30. I'm making a mental note of where I'm leaving off at in the live chat, and then I'll come back to it soon. Wow, looks like cool. I do have a couple of viewers on the live stream on Instagram, which is cool. If you are viewing, I'm sure you probably didn't hear the announcement at the beginning of the stream. If you want to see the code, check out the freeCodeCamp channel on YouTube, and you'll be able to see what's on my screen. I know you can see the code a little bit in the corner of the feed, but not enough to really know what's going on. All right, so let's restart our Pomodoro timer. We'll do another 25 minutes of coding. So where we left off basically is we've imported the Masonry. We've imported Masonry from the React Masonry component npm package, and right now we have set up our state, just our defaults, and then we have a constant that's going to be Masonry component, and we're going to insert that down here. Right now we don't really have a lot. We'll probably just have to fill out, let's see, map post I. We'll just put in some data here just to give it something to loop over. But at some point we'll have to decide how we're going to import the data, which will basically just be the image URLs. Probably the name too, so we can give it a nice title attribute, maybe alt attribute as well. Okay, so sorry for the weirdness going on here. I have some package for my editor that's auto-formatting things as I go along, and occasionally it gets weird. Right now it's getting weird because I never closed out this element. There we go. Now it's, yeah, there we go. That's better. Okay. Yeah, so let's try to see if we can get something on the screen. So I'm going to bring over from the code that is on my other screen now that I showed you earlier from our previous project. I'll bring over some of the stuff. Let's see. I need to find it. It's quite a large component. Alright, these are tabs. Sorry, I'm scrolling through this file and I cannot find where it... There it is, finally. Actually, I'm gonna... Yeah, let me... State data... Alright, I'll pull this in. This is going to be a bit more than I wanted to start out with in terms of complexity, but why not? We'll pull it in and get everything working here. So I'm going to pull in so we have a row. We're going to have a row for our tabs, and we're going to put that above. So we're going to have to make a container, right? So if you've never worked with React before, you can't have two sibling components side by side within this return. It has to be wrapped in one, so that's why we're wrapping it. For right now, I'm not going to name it or anything. This is going to be where our tabs go. And then let's make another row. And that's where we're going to insert all our masonry stuff. Alright, cool. And the Instagram live stream has ended. That'll be available for the next 24 hours if anyone wants to watch the recording of it. So thanks for joining. If you joined in. Okay. So let me just briefly let you know what's going on here. I think there's one more thing that I'll have to bring over to make this work. But what we're doing is basically adding in all the tabs that we're going to need. So we are going to have to put something in state for this to go through, and put each one of these in. This is using the materialized version of tabs, so we probably are going to have to redo this a bit, because I would rather use the MaterialUI version if I can, if it works for this use case. But for now, this is just going to make the tabs. This then is going to make rows. Actually, yeah, I can't do that. So I'm glad I saw this. So basically, this is going to generate rows, so we don't want to put this in its own row. It's going to generate rows for each tab. So every tab will have its own corresponding row, so that when you click on a tab, that row will show up. It'll become visible. Each one of these components, these Masonry, each one of these rows will be populated with the images, the Masonry components that belong to that particular category. Okay. So hopefully that made a little bit of sense to you, but we do need, so you can see here, like we have nothing in terms of rows. Do we have type? Yeah, we'll need to add some things in for this to work. Let's see. Okay, so we need our actually I put this in the wrong place. So we had originally we had these things inside our render. So let me get rid of this. There we go. Okay, that looks better, makes more sense. Did I leave off? Yeah, I left this off. Okay, so now, wow, this formatting will be fixed when we go to commit, so it's a little bit terrible right now. So here's where we have our tabs. So right now, these are the tab names for our other project, so we will change those. But you can see we're getting the active tab name from this state. Okay, so right now it's all, and that's what we want to keep it. So that doesn't need to change. And then we have the tabs. So just key value pairs for all of our tabs. So we'll leave it like this for now. We'll put in the proper names in a little bit. All right. So our Masonry component is filtering based on the active tab value. And okay, then once it's filtered, then it goes over everything. We're getting that right now from data. So what we need to do then, let's provide some data. Yeah, let's provide some data just to get this working. So all we're going to need right now, at least, let's see, some objects with the type, ACF type. Let's remove this ACF because that was unique to the WordPress API with the particular way we had it set up. So let's do post type. Okay, so we'll just have type. And we're going to have this array of objects. I'm trying to think how the data came through in WordPress that we had it set up. It would have just been an array of objects. Okay, so let's do type. And audio. Didn't copy at all. Okay. Okay, so this should at least give us at least one in each category. So something for it to loop over. Do we need type? We may not even need this. I'm not going to take it out right now, but I don't think we need it. Okay, so this image, I'm just going to double check that this image is actually going to work on my other screen. Yes, it will. Okay, great. Okay, so we have tabs. Great. Tab key. Okay, so one thing that's not going to work for now is obviously we're not initiating this. And we haven't pulled in any of the styles or JavaScript to make this work. So let's see how it looks. I don't really expect it to look great, but something should come on to the screen. And we are going to have a default. By default, it should show everything. Okay, yeah, let's save it. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Now, where did I put it? I guess I can't find where I moved everything to. Sorry about that. Give me a minute. Oh well. I'll just go to localhost. And let's use that 9,000. Alright, now let's check out logos and see. Not 100% sure it's going to look good here. Actually, logos. What did we do? Actually not seeing anything at all. That's not good. Probably just syntax error. Yeah, it's a syntax. Unexpected token. It's a syntax error, but it's not actually telling me very much. That's odd. Yeah, for some reason. That's really odd. For some reason, my server is just not responding. And it doesn't really say that anything happened. So let's try to start the server again. What did I do? Alright, so Patrick says I should run yarn run lint. Alright, well now at least we'll get some messages about what could be the problem. Card title was used, flat button is used, logos. Oh, I'm not using these, so that's something. And what else did we have? The React JSX space before closing rule was depreciated. Alright, I'm not really sure what this is all about, but at least I can verify that I fixed the other problems, which, I mean, I know I did, but okay, so I'm getting this thing. I'm gonna paste this in on my other screen, just do a search. Alright, so the first two links are not giving me great information or solution to that. Let's see. At least we have some nice formatting now. So as you can see, the auto formatting worked like it was supposed to. Alright, well let's at least give this a shot. Okay, let's see. Alright, I'm going to go to the live chat and see what you all think. Alright, I'll try port 3000 as well. Yeah, nothing. Port 3000 is not giving me anything either. Diaron says, I thought I saw a Masonry spelled with 2 S's in your file. Yeah, it is spelled with 2 S's. So that was, yeah, that was from the original pull request, and I just never changed it. Yeah. So it doesn't it doesn't really bother me. I know what's going on. If it bothers anybody that's misspelled, I will accept your pull request if you really want to change it. Otherwise, it works. I'm fine with it. Well, it did work. It's not working right now. Hmm. This is odd. Okay, cool. So I got it started here. So not sure what the issue was. I was supposed to have an alt prop. Okay, so we're getting a warning here about having an alt prop, which we were going to put in an alt prop anyway on that image element. So not a big deal. I'm not exactly sure what. So in case you haven't been watching the last few days, we actually had like two different servers running. And to test out our form in the uploads, we're running things on localhost 9000. But then originally with Create React App, we had things running on 3000. So we basically, the 3000 seems to be working. The 9000 wasn't. You could double check. Yeah, for some reason it's not. But we can try to figure that out later. For now, hey, look at this. We got logos. Okay, cool. So the images aren't working. I wonder what they're giving us. Is it a failed to load resource? That's really odd. Not exactly sure why that resource failed to load, but so you can see we have, so our tabs are populating, and then we had 4 elements, like 4 objects in our array for our data, and we see 4 here. Now I don't expect these, actually, did it work? Cool. Okay, so this actually does work basically because we were doing this kind of thing right with state in our component, but you can see the styles don't work, which was expected. But we should have, like, audio should have 2, text and video should have 1 element. Okay, great. So all that's working. So let's see if we can make it look a little bit nicer. First thing I want to do is check out MaterialUI and see what they have in terms of tabs. If they have something that's awesome, then I'm willing to switch. Otherwise, it might not be that big of a deal to just take what we have now, add a few styles to it, and I think it could work. The only thing I'm worried about is we have quite a few options, so I'm considering changing how this works, because that's a lot of options to just have right across the top of the screen. So let me try to find where I had the example of the live site now, just to show you in case you don't remember. Whoops, it looks like it logged me out, so I'm gonna log back in. Hey, good news about this. So a lot of you have expressed your opinions as to how terrible this currently looks. I hope that soon we'll be hiring a new web developer in the IT department, and they handle this site. So basically, the first task of this person will be to start redesigning this according to basically the styles that I tell them, to try to match up with what else we're doing. So hopefully that'll be looking better sometime within the next few months. So haven't hired anybody yet, but I did. We had a phone interview with another candidate earlier today. So hopefully we get it. Logos. Okay, yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So like 12, plus we'll probably want to add an all. So we're going to have like 12 or 13 across the top, which is, we used a really small font to basically to make it work. I don't like doing that because it's hard to read. Okay. I couldn't remember how I did this before. So we do actually use a drop down at some point. Alright, that's not bad. Actually, let me know what you think. My Pomodoro timer just went off, so I'm going to go to the live chat in a second. But let me know what you think. Do you like that it's spread out across the top like that in a row, and then it goes, to this? Or do you think it should stay as a drop down all the time? Is this just too much, and is the font too small? So I'm not sure. It's nice to be able to see all the categories, I guess, all at once. So anyway, I'm undecided. Let me know what you all think. Let me turn on the timer for 5 minutes and check the time. 4:22. What time do we start this? Yeah, we'll probably I probably won't do a complete Pomodoro cycle. I think what we'll end up doing is just do a little bit of styling to make it look a bit better. And I kind of just really want to use a little bit of the, use some SAS because it's been a long time since I used it. So, but otherwise it's starting to get about time for me to leave work. So probably maybe do 10 more minutes of coding after this, I would say. Maybe give or take a few minutes. Alright, so David asks, how do you get night mode on GitHub? What's the package? Why do I always forget this? It is called GitHub Dark. So just search for GitHub Dark and then check out the options for installing it. I am using it with Tamper Monkey, so I'm running the scripts as soon as the site loads with Tamper Monkey to set all this up. Gavin says, why have NodeMon as a dependency? I'm thinking it should be more of a dev dependency if it needs to be in there. Yeah, actually, I think you might be right, Gavin. And yeah, now that I think about it, am I missing something? Is there some reason why NodeMon should be a dependency and not a dev dependency? Maybe I'm missing something here, but I'm thinking it could be a dev dependency. Alright, so David's asking about Electron. So if you notice, Electron is here under dependencies. And let's see. Electron is for, sorry, I'm looking through because I think this question just got answered. Are we using Electron for tests? I'm going to see, when did we add that? I have to go back through because we've had quite a few pull requests, so I'll have to check and see where we actually added that in. So it looks like Electron didn't get added until... Actually, that was Gavin's pull request. Anyway, so I'm not sure if Gavin's still watching or if he's back, but it looks like that last pull request that you added was Electron. So maybe you would be better equipped to answer that. Okay, it looks like show the categories you can. So it looks like the way we're doing it currently live with the categories across the top, and then when we get to a smaller screen, it shifts to a drop down. It looks like that's what we're gonna go with. That's what seems like everybody has agreed on that. Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, Gavin, for answering. So basically, so Gavin added in Electron um, in the pull request because there are errors on the test saying that uh, Electron needed to be installed. So we'll, that's interesting. We are going to have to sort out. There have been some errors happening with some different people, so we're going to have to sort out what's going on with that. I haven't, well, with the exception of today, I've never really had any errors with the test, so I haven't really been able to replicate anything, but might have to sort that out. Okay, so my 5 minutes are up. Let's do, I'm not going to do a full, actually, I'm going to set this for 10 minutes, and just, we'll do a bit of styling. Let's check out MaterialUI. I always type in, I can't spell. There we go. Alright, this is what I wanted. Let's see. Tabs. See what the tabs look like. Alright, not really sure. I'm not really sure if these tabs are what we want. Just usually you don't. We have a lot of items. Don't think I've ever seen that many items in tabs for material design. So I just don't think that's gonna look great. So maybe we should try to just style these a bit on our own and see how it looks. So let's take our let's make a SAS file for this. Styles, that's what it was. Styles. Okay, so we've made, through the command line, we've made this file. So we did the touch command and then specified the directory and then the file name. So now we can see our file here, logos. Okay, so within this now we can edit this. Let me see what our class names we're using. So for right now, the tabs are what I want to focus on. Okay, so we have a UL and just allies in there. Okay. So let's check out DevTools. This is probably common, but I find it helpful to, when I'm not exactly sure what I want to do, to use DevTools to change some of the styles just so I can immediately see what's happening. And then once I figure out about what I want to do, then I go back to the actual file and start making some changes. But for now, I mean, we're already getting some of the behavior we want. So it's already displaying in a row, which is good. We do want to, let's see, list style. Actually, what is this? Style type, that's what we want. None. Okay, so we've done list style type none. That got rid of our little dots there, our little disks. So we definitely want to do that. Where's this? UL tabs. So we can go back here and let's just say tabs. So I did have somebody earlier say, how do we style an element with a class? Not sure if you're still around, but this is how you do it. So we have the class name of tabs on this UL. So now we're going to say tabs and list style type none. Right, and now we have just styled that, and you can see it's automatically created the CSS file, so that SAS is compiling now. So if we go here, we can see now it's CSS. We haven't really done anything that's SAS specific, so it's pretty much exactly the same. Just have this up one line. But if we had done something that was kind of a SAS only thing, it would have compiled a valid CSS immediately. Okay, so we have our tabs unstyled. Let's see. I do want these to be, so let's check out our LIs. So right now we have some column classes being applied to the LIs. So let's remove those and see what we're left with. I don't want to have to fight the column classes. I'd rather start with less and then build up. Okay, that's what was happening. Oops, I didn't import the CSS file. So we need to do that. Let me go to another page just so I can copy it. What do we have? No, I don't want it from index. I want it from... There we go. Okay, so we do need to import that file, that CSS file. Okay, and doing it like this, it helps keep everything kind of, you have really small, easy to read files. If you name them in a decent way, then you should be able to immediately know what they're for. So in this case, our files are named for the most part after what they're doing, like either what element or component or even view that they go with. So it's pretty straightforward. It looks a little bit nicer than having one giant CSS file. It's easier to find things in. Okay, so you see now it's applied that we don't have those little disks, and we've also gotten rid of those styles for the column. And so we have our list and it's now in a row. We don't want it in a row. Let's see. Display block. This is such a common thing that I have to do, and I can never remember. There we go. I always can never remember how to get it to work. Class tab. Let's do something SAS specific. So within tabs, we're going to put tab and put float left. Okay, so obviously you can't do this in regular CSS, so it compiles to this, which is proper CSS. I shouldn't say compiles, that's not really the right term, right? Okay, so now you can see we have the styles here. Let's give a bit of padding. So let's give it 8 pixels all around. And actually, what do I want? Tabs. We're going to give it 8 pixels all around. And I do want a margin as well. So the reason being, so the padding will actually be like a clickable area, but the space that's margin will not. Well, we should probably put it on here. Yeah, let's get rid of that. Let's put our padding here. That's really what we want, and I want to maintain that clickability here. So you see that the target will be larger. So if somebody doesn't exactly get it on there, it'll still work. Okay. And then on the LI, we'll add a margin. And I don't want any top or bottom margin, so I'm going to give it 0 there, and then let's go another 8 pixels on the sides. So you see it looks now, let me zoom in, it's easier to see. Alright, so you can see we have on each one 8 pixels of padding all around, and then 8 pixels of margin on the left and the right. So that should give enough of a target so that, remember, this is only going to be desktop now, so we don't have to worry about a tap target. Otherwise, we would want to be bigger, like more like 40, 48 pixels. But since this is going to be for a mouse, we can get away with smaller. But that should be enough. It should be very easy to click. And then also, because we have that padding in between, so there'll be a 16 pixel gap in between each one, where so that people won't accidentally click, or at least it'll be a little bit more difficult to accidentally click one that you didn't mean to click. All right. The last thing. All right, let's just put this in. So under the tab, we want a margin 0.8, and then within the tab, we're gonna have the A tag, and we want that to have padding of 8 pixels. I'm going to save that. I also want to see what will happen if I put, what do I want to center? I want to see what happens if I try to center. I don't know if I brought, I'm not sure I brought this class over from Materialize. We'll see in a second. Center, I didn't. So let's go with, so here's another way to style React components. You can actually just put a style tag and then drop down into JavaScript by putting the brackets in there, and then make an object, and then that object will then be your CSS. So in this case, I want to do text align, and that needs to be camel cased, and center. And let's see. Okay, and that, has that done anything? No, it hasn't. So what I'll need to do, what I want to accomplish is to have this stuff centered. So I'll need to do something with this. Trying to think. I did this somewhat recently. I had the same issue. I'm trying to remember what I ended up doing. Alright, my time's probably about it. Let me double check before I... Oh yeah, it is. I must not have heard the beeping. So anyway, just to let you know what the next step that I wanted to do is have this be centered. So probably going to do some type of centering, like zero auto maybe, but then I'll need to give it a width, so I need to do like width, I don't know, 15%. So I could do something like that. I don't really want to do that though. Yeah, it's not. Now I remember the issue that I had before was that if you try to do the float, then you can't get things. So like right now it's obviously centered, but I was doing the float to get it to all line up. So what? I can't remember how I fixed that. Anyway, use display flex and then align center. Oh, okay. So Diron says use display flex and then align center or center content items. Okay, cool. I'll have to try that. Display inline. Oh yeah, use display inline. There we go. Sebastian, awesome. That's what it is. Okay, so that's what I was looking for. That's how I'm pretty sure that's how I solved it previously. Okay, so display inline. Probably the flex thing would have worked as well. But if we add display inline, and I don't think we need to do we need to keep that? We don't need that. Do we need this? Yep. Okay, so we need text align center on this div. Or can we put it on the UL? Okay, we can get away with putting it on the UL, so let's do that. And that's nicer to put it lower down anyway, and then we don't have to add another element. And then on the tabs itself, we'll go display inline. We'll save that, and let's get rid of this center. We don't need that, and then also this, which, I mean, that was good for demonstration to put that in if you need to. But since we have that separate CSS file, I'd rather have everything in there. So here we go. What did I miss? Text align center. The float. We got to get rid of the float. There we go. Okay, so we have everything centered, lined up. I like the amount of spacing and padding. The text size, I kind of really would like to go bigger on the text size. So we'll see about that. Possibly also different on... We'll have to see some more styling about how we want to do that. But not bad. Definitely looks better than it was. So that's a good start. Yeah, good start. Probably not going to commit this right now because I was getting all those errors before. So, well, why not? Let's see if we can commit and not get the errors. We didn't really do anything to fix them, so probably we'll get them again, but we'll see. So let's do a get status. And when we do get status, it'll show us everything that we've changed. And everything that we've added. So test upload txt. How did I do a test upload txt? I'm not sure how the test upload got in there. Alright, so definitely don't want to commit that. Okay. So we definitely did change these. So that's why it's a good idea. I always do it, and usually it's not really necessary. But I do like to do a get status before I commit, especially if I've been working for a while, in case I've forgotten that I changed something, or if I inadvertently changed something I didn't realize it. So now all these files look good. I have actually worked on each one of these. Actually, service request. Actually, I'm not really sure what I did in service request. Where's it at? So let's check it out. That's odd. Usually it'll show me on the side a different color for the lines that have changed, and it looks like nothing's changed. So you can do a get diff to see what's changed. So this is logos, which it's fine. We know a lot of stuff changed in logos. Service request. It looks like just formatting. So probably when we ran that that command just to do some formatting, it probably just reformatted something in there. So yeah, so nothing actually changed, it just got rearranged a bit. Okay, that's cool. I'm fine with that. Alright, so I'm going to do a get add, and then I'm going to put a period there, and that's going to add everything. So if we do our status again, everything's green, that means it's ready to go, ready to be committed. So we'll do a get commit. M, so we can put a message inline, and we'll just say add. Did we? Masonry. That's pretty much sums up what we've done. So currently I have no standards on commit messages for this project. I'm thinking about making some sort of standard or adopting some standard for commit messages from somewhere else. So might end up having some better messages here at some point. But for now I just haven't decided on it. Currently in my course, alright, see, we passed all the tests. Not really sure what was going on with that before. Maybe it had something to do with the server. So if you remember, I had to restart the server. So if I had to guess, I'd say maybe it was something with that. But we can see we passed all the tests. Let's push this up. So now all that code is available in the repo on GitHub. I'm going to go over to the live chat and answer any questions that you'll have in there. So if you do have any questions, please put them in the live chat now. I also take questions on any other social media platforms or even email if you have some questions for me later on. If you aren't interested in the question and answer session, you're just interested in the code portion is over. So thank you so much for watching. You can safely leave now. Most likely won't be doing any more coding. Otherwise, let's get to some questions. Alright, so it looks like I've covered a decent amount of the chat already. I've done a good job of sticking to the schedule of the Pomodoro sessions today. Okay, it looks like there was some discussion about using the grid, CSS grid layout. So I'm probably not going to do that for this project since I've already have the Masonry stuff set up. So I know that works. I like how that works. So I'm open to using the grid elsewhere if we need it. Patrick says that it's only at about 70% browser adoption right now. So maybe not, at least for this. Unfortunately, there are a lot of computers on campus where people are using some really outdated browsers. So I don't attempt to support the really outdated browsers. And in fact, I think there's value in not supporting them to try to force them to update. especially for security issues of using browsers that old. But I think I still would like to have things look decent, even on slightly older browsers. But John Hansen does say if you use CSS fallbacks within the grid layout, you can still use it in production. So, okay, cool. I had mentioned earlier that I was saying compile when I was talking about Sass, and I mentioned I'm pretty sure that's not the correct term. So Sebastian says maybe transpile. Alberto says transpile. Yeah, I think transpile is probably. I mean, I use transpile when I'm talking about what Babel does with JavaScript. I mean, Sass is a CSS preprocessor. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. You all know what I'm talking about. It takes the Sass and it turns it into CSS, whatever you want to call that process. That's what it does. Kevin, Kevin had to leave the stream and watch it 2 times to catch up. So awesome! Glad you caught up. Oh, okay. So that file that I wasn't sure about was from a test. And then Kevin says it gets deleted when the test pass. Okay, so probably what had happened since before I ran the test and I didn't pass them, it was probably just left over from then. So, okay, and I saw, I think someone said, Sebastian said add that to git ignore. So yeah, I should definitely do that, and that'll just, that way if it happens again, I don't have to worry about it. Oh, okay. So Max says the noise of my fan is annoying. So sorry about that. Uh, I didn't realize. Is it? Can you hear the fan a lot? I had it on low. I know I've done that before, and it seemed to be okay. So let me know if it was if the fan was too much, and I'll turn it off next time. So it seems like Max said bye. So I think Max isn't around anymore to let me know about the fan noise. But uh, I'm actually okay with Max leaving because the fan noise is annoying. It would have been much worse if they said like your voice is annoying or something, because I can't really change that. But I could definitely turn the fan off. All right, so I think I've gotten all the questions in the live chat. Hopefully, I didn't miss any up near the top. If I did, I'm sorry. Um, let's see. Sebastian's still having trouble passing the test. All right, we're gonna have to try to get to the bottom of this, and I know at least it's hard for me because I can't recreate the issues, so it's really hard to try to work on them. So. Um, all right, well let's try to figure that out. But if anybody else is having trouble, if you clone the repo and try to pass the test, if you're having trouble, please go to the issue. It's the only issue open right now in the repo. So go to that issue and comment with any details that you have, like screenshots of what's happening, what system you're running, and things like that. That might be helpful when trying to figure out what the problems are. So if you are having it, you can do that. That would just be super helpful. I'd really appreciate that. But I think that's it for today. I really appreciate everybody watching and participating in the live chat. It's really cool that we have that Slack channel now, so I'll try to remember to put that in all the descriptions from now on. And I'll have to join in there as well. I should be able to be back tomorrow, I think at the same time. I don't think I have any meetings going on. What's tomorrow? Thursday? Thursday already. Yeah, it looks like I'm. Thursday should be same time, 2 p.m. Eastern time, but my normal time. We'll be back. We may be working on this again on finishing it up. We'll see. Maybe I'll have time. I do have meetings in the morning, so I may not have time to do much with it. But not really that much else that needs done with it. And until then, have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.